we interviewed an AI founder who went from working in startups to starting his own in a completely different industry.
Startup company back in 1997.
And we asked some interesting questions today.
Abdul, walk me through what happens the moment an employee tries to paste confidential information into ChatGPT.
My name is Haroun Notta.
Hi, my name is Tanya Narani.
And welcome to the AI Founder Series. Abdul, how are you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Pretty well. Thanks for asking.
So I got to ask you this, right? You're an AI founder. You're in AI cybersecurity right now. How do you go? What was your history? How did you start out your career, or how did you start out your professional life?
No, sure. I started with a startup company back in 1997. There were 7 of us. The company called Interland. It was one of the .com booms where it was web hosting was just a starting point, just like how AI is a starting point now. And I joined the company, started as a support analyst, and then kind of moved up to engineer, to network engineer, to security engineer, a network operation. So I have pretty much done everything, and I was there for about 18 years. So I played many different hats. As a starting out point was employee number 7, and then we took that company from 7 employees to 2,500 employees within a 2-year time frame, and we ended up taking the company IPO. And after the IPO, we were there. There's a couple of us who are the founder of this company now. We were together at that company for almost 15 to 18 years. And from there, I kind of started my journey into leadership role, and I was at multiple different companies, INAP. Then I went to Deloitte. I was there. I started up their security program within their iLab organization, and then from there, I was recruited into Beyond Trust. They bought 4 different companies. They combined them all, so they asked me to build up their security program and compliance. So I did that, and then from there, I was kind of fortunate to coming into Khoros and trying to help them get their program to the highest standard. And before I left back in 2020, in 2020, time's going so fast, 2025, I was the chief information security officer there. So we were one of the top one in Vista portfolio company to be best security program in all of their portfolio companies there.
Wow, amazing.
Man, got an extensive history at this stuff, right? So you've seen the .com boom, and now you're watching the AI boom. I mean, that's incredible. When were you a CISO? Or
it was at Khoros. Just last year, I left my role. So I was deputy CISO at Beyond Trust, and then also at Deloitte iLab for their iLab compliance and security program. And beyond that, I kind of been in compliance and security my whole career. So
really, so what year did you? What was the year you became a CISO?
It was 2022.
2022. So
yeah.
You've seen from basically the beginning of ChatGPT, which is when all this LLM stuff started happening, to only a couple of years ago you left, right? Or like, how long was it?
Yeah, just last year. Yeah.
Just last year.
Yeah.
And so that's the time you've been involved with cybersecurity. So you've been in the industry for a couple of years.
Oh, I've been in the industry, especially in security and compliance industry, for pretty much most of my career.
Really?
Yeah, it's been I've seen everything, from PCI 1.0 and the last one we did was PCI 4.5. So we have done it all.
Wow.
We have done from SSE 70 to SAS 16 to now it's SOC 2. So we have seen it all.
That's crazy, man. So from what was cybersecurity like then? Because obviously we know now it's crazy, and we just had a massive cybersecurity attack on other companies so far. But let me ask you, what was it like back then comparing to how it is now?
Yeah. So if we were to go back to 1997, 98, there was no such thing as cybersecurity. So only thing people would have on their computers were, antivirus, Norton and Semantics, and those were the main 2 players back then. If you were to talk about, there was nothing called cybersecurity back then. It was just security, and network security. So network security was more around like firewalls, ACLs, making sure the routes are there and blocking certain IPs and making sure even the firewall came in a few years later. But until then, it was all network equipment. Everything was blocked, done all on network equipment. And from there, it kind of evolved from there it went to IPS, IDS, and then from there it went to more detail into same. I remember in 2008, first time I heard, actually it was 2008. For the first time, I heard acronym called SEAM, and I never knew what it was. And the first one I heard it from was McAfee at one of their conference, and they say, "Oh, we're going to introduce the SEAM." I knew they had, they had a dashboard which showed all the different alerts from different things, but never heard of that term before. And then, that just became a norm now. Now today, SEAM is kind of norm, and then now you start to hear about SOAR. So it's like things have transitioned. Now we're talking about cloud security, which is just came out. It's in beta testing, and I think it's going to be coming out any day now. So you could see the evolution from where it was, where security was just antivirus and firewall rules, and now it has become into a completely different ballgame.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, like AI security, like AI and cybersecurity, I've always like thought of as like a scary combination. So let me ask you this, just for clarification purposes: what type of security does your company thrive in, or what type of specific zone of it?
I think we focus on confidential and sensitive data, right? As you can see, people's privacy is the most important thing in today's world. And back then, there was no thing as privacy, right? Like, and we will be able to post our social security number out in open, not to worry about that. Someone can hijack that and then open up other credit cards and stuff. That trend started to come out around 2000 2005 timeframe when people started to steal people's identity. But until then, it was just manual check frauds, manual thing that you can think of. And in today's world, all of that has changed with the digital concept where everything is digitized. Now our identity are being stolen through prompts, through through breaches, through other data, wherever our data resides. So we have to be careful of what we do with that data. And that's what we focus on, is protect companies, enterprises, and individuals' personal information or sensitive information from getting out in the world.
Really, man, and I didn't really think about it that deeply until, dang, it's actually something to think about, that you just put all your information up there, and now it's like, whoa, now the world can see it. My social security number, like you said, gone. Anyone can use it, right? But what was there something specific that made you want to, was it that exactly the worry that people were just going to throw their personal information and have it stolen that made you want to do this, or was it something else?
No, I mean it's kind of funny though how this thing. I mean, I've been since I was a kid. I've been watching sci-fi movies, right? And I guess I was maybe 10 or 11 years old when the first time I watched Terminator, right? And I still remember from that time, I said, man, one day, these machines going to take over. So it was that,
Right.
and there were other sci-fi movies, and that was just a myth back then, right? Nobody thought this would actually come to reality. And when the AI generation start to kick in, as things are getting more and more advanced, and now you can see that is actually becoming reality. And if that reality was to hit, how are we going to protect ourselves from that? I mean, end of the day, even though there's a concept of AI can't hurt humans and this and that, but again, that's just a concept. There's a time when if the quantum computers start to come out, things are going to be computing at completely different level, right? And humans going to be more into completely lower down from the way we process things versus how quantum computers going to process things. And I kind of think deep into the future as to how the human life will be, and I'm all about protecting humanity and protecting what is important to us in today's world. And just to give you some ideas, I know so many people I run across where they say, oh, I got this phishing email, I end up paying this guy $5,000 or $10,000 because I owe IRS this much money, or this police department saying I got to pay this fine. And I hear that story all the time, and I hear that story within our community as well. And to educate them, or I guess you can't educate certain level of things because they're used to doing certain things certain way. So what can we do to protect that, right? If a child today goes into a search bar and puts some information in there, right? What are the protection are we providing that child today, right? And if the parents are not technical savvy, and just imagine every single person in the world right now, all the kids, I'm saying, has a cell phone, including kids, right? How are you protecting those kids' information, right, from getting out? And I think when I think about that, and then this whole thing was triggered in a completely different manner, but I always think about those things, right? And then down the road, I'll probably tell you how the actual idea came to reality and how it connected. But I have always been an advocate about protecting data, protecting people's data, protecting companies' data.
Interesting. I mean, okay. Speaking of quantum, you mentioned quantum computers. I've been hearing a lot about quantum computing in cybersecurity and quantum computing just in general, getting involved with AI. Do you think that's a scary and a genuinely dangerous combo, and do you think we'll be able to defend against that, or do you think it's something that we're gonna have to figure out down the road?
I think it's going to make a lot of things much better in the world if when that comes in, but it's all about responsible use, right? And how responsible we will be to using that. Look, for example, uh, there are a lot of things that you try to process with a normal processing power. It takes probably days or months to process, even though, as you can see, how fast the processor and the machines are in today's world, right? Now imagine what it used to take days to figure out, like some genetic information or some kind of a research analysis. Maybe 20 years ago, it probably took like 2 or 3 years to process that. I still remember AS400s. It used to take forever to process it. I still remember HPUX and how long it took, and even how many stacks we used to have for just 12. It was 12 meg drives, and then we will have stacks of multiple stacks, right? And imagine now you're talking about terabytes and terabytes of drives, and it's just unbelievable, right? How much it's taking. Now imagine what used to take 2 months, now it's taking a week, and with the introduction of quantum computers, that stuff's going to take maybe seconds, minutes to process things, and the research that used to take forever, or the surgery that robots wanted to do, or doctors wanted to do, they couldn't do it in the past. But now imagine they're able to do that. Everything will have those processing power, which can make that happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Abdul, walk me through what happens the moment an employee tries to paste confidential information into ChatGPT.
So
what would happen in that scenario?
I think I would say, okay, so I'll give the ChatGPT example first. So if you're using our product and do you want to talk about it before or after?
Both.
Okay. So the minute anyone puts in information into ChatGPT, right, no matter what you say, no matter what kind of agreement you have, I believe personally, I may be wrong, but this is my personal belief, soon you hit enter, soon the data leaves your machine, is going somewhere. Whether it's stored or not, it left its fingerprint somewhere in the world, somewhere, some data center or some server, somewhere it left that fingerprint. That means is that that we are putting our information, we don't know where it's going, right? So that's ChatGPT is one example. Now think about other methods. Like if you're sending an email in the past, when you used to send an email, your server, your Exchange server or whatever server you had in the corporation, it will stay within your data center on site. This was 5-10 years ago. Then the introduction of Office 365 and Gmail and all of that. Now your data is not in your control anymore. It's with third party. No matter what kind of agreements you have, but your data is not with you. It's with third party. Tomorrow, if that data had to be compromised, guess what? Your data is compromised, right? At least before you can blame your network admin. Now who are you going to blame, right? So once you put
Right.
the data in there, it's gone, right? And that's what worries me the most is the introduction of the AI tool. People are putting in information which they should not have. Yes, it's a great tool. I use it all day long, but you have
Me
to
too.
use it responsibly, right? You have to know what you put into it, and you have to know what you should not be putting into it. And I think you have to
Right.
be careful of that. Having said that, not everyone is savvy enough to understand that, right? If I was to tell this to and that's where the problem started in my previous company, where I have seen from my own eyes engineers, when ChatGPT and Copilot came out, they put in confidential information, they put in source code into ChatGPT,
Source
right?
code.
Yep, source codes into
That's
ChatGPT, and people
wild.
are doing it even today in Claude, in Open Claude, in Paperclip. All of these different tools, people are putting that data in there as of today, right? Now imagine your source code is done, is gone, and some of them may be sanctioned by the company where they allow you to use it in enterprise version, and you could go back and delete it. But soon you put it into that system, it's not in your control anymore. Right now, imagine what happens tomorrow. Everything is
Right.
new.
That's
Nobody knows this. Nobody has a history of this, right? So I think that's the scary part right now.
is dangerous. It sounds like,
It is.
Um, yeah. So to your product, from what I understand, you deploy in under 4 hours via browser extension. How? Like,
Mhm.
how is that
Yeah,
possible?
I think it's really simple, right?
Mhm.
Myself and my founders, we come from a strong technology background, and we have dealt the pain and suffering of all the IT team and security teams in the organization. So for example, if we were to deploy a enterprise grade product, or we were to replace enterprise grade product in the past, it would take anywhere from 3 months to 2 year implementation. First, you have to remove
Right.
everything out of the environment, and then you have to introduce something new. And depending on the amount of users, I'm just going to give you an example. When we introduced Zscaler, it took us almost a year and a half to get it right. And then by that time, people were already upset. So some people started to hate it, and they try to uninstall it, but then we have to lock it down. But anyways, we wanted to make sure the product that we built, it has to be seamless. It has to work with the existing environment. It has to work the way it
Mhm.
should be working. So, for example, we have one installer, right? All of our extensions and plugins. So, first of all, everything that we do is all plugin and extension based. So we
Right.
know the pain of when you're running something on your computer, and let's say if you got antivirus running in the background, or some kind of scam, it slows down your computer, right? And you hate it. You try to stop it, but you can't stop it because your IT team stopping you from stopping it. So you're upset at the time. You're trying to, or you're doing a Zoom call, and the next thing you know, your screen is slowing down and you can't talk properly. Something is
Right.
happening in the background. So we wanted to not use. We didn't want it to do agent based, and we didn't want it to use a software. So we didn't want to install any software on your computer that runs it and does this thing.
Mhm.
So what we did was we came up with the idea of having it based on whatever it's installed existing in your machine, right? Whatever browser you have, whatever apps you have, we want to work within those apps and within those browser settings. So our solution is based on plugins and extensions. All the enterprise browsers out there, we have extension for that, and then all the main enterprise out of the box software that we have plugins for that. So what that means is you're running the software as it is, right? You're using Outlook as it is, or using Word document as it is. You got a Copilot on the right, which can interfere with things, right? Or you can use it as you please. And then on the browsing standard, most 90% of your traffic goes to the browser, right? So all the extensions are within the within the stores of the manufacturer, like whether it's Microsoft, Google, whoever
Right.
the owner of those browsers are. So it's all in their stores. right? Same thing with the plugin. All the enterprise plugins like Microsoft's and Teams and all of those are in the stores. And then all you have to do is once our agent or once our installer is picked up by your IT team or any IT team, as long as they have a MDM or GPO, we're able to deploy it through that. And within a couple of hours, it should be installed in all the machines. So with the way the installer works, it makes a call to different stores. It installs it in the extensions or plugins, whatever it finds, part of the scan that we do. So our installer will actually scan and see what browser you have. It will install it automatically. Same thing, what apps you have, it will install those plugins automatically. And next thing you know, your user don't even know about it, and it's already done. All we have to do is at that point is gets authenticated from the backend through the token, and then once the tokens are authenticated, it's up and running. User don't know anything about it. It's all seamless. So it's 4 hours is kind of a high number, but it can happen earlier than that. But again, it depends
That's pretty
upon the
quick.
organization size. Yeah.
It's amazing. That's pretty quick.
I'd say like the key thing with cybersecurity that I notice when I tell or even talk to people about this, like I don't know that much about it, to be honest, but when I do talk to people, they're like, yeah, that just sounds hard. Yeah, dude, it's a long process. Well, I don't want to do that. But like, I think that is one of the key barriers to get people to protect their data, protect their information, is by making the process seamless. And I'm glad you guys are doing it. Honestly, we needed that.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think this comes in from our experience working with these types of situations. So that helped a lot.
That's wild. Abdul, I did want to ask you, how does you and your company keep up with new AI tools every week?
So here's the thing. We don't try to chase every new AI tool one by one, right? The method we have is, I mean, that's first of all, it's a losing game, right? There's new thing coming out by different companies all day. So what we decided, we built the layer that can share across every AI tool, anything that's out there, right? So that's why we use browser and plugins, right? Yes, as the new things come out, we create plugins for those or wrappers for those. But outside of that, whether it's in today's world, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or something new, Canva, or whatever it came out, right? If it launches the next Tuesday, we're already ready to go. So we block things soon a user starts to type into that chat box or into that text box. That's where we actually come in and start to review what the content is. Whether it's Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, or any other type of tools, our detection runs on the content, not on the perimeter of what tools that is. So for example, if you're about to do Google search and you're going to put in certain confidential information on there, or you're going to put your name on there, if our extension is installed, it will recognize that could be potentially a PII information. It will recognizes it, and based on the policy that's set, it will work. So that's why we're not chasing different AI tools. It's always about anything that can happen in today's industry.
Okay, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I think that's a definitely key part in this industry, especially right now. Earlier we talked about how you went from tech to cybersecurity, right? Now that shift from the tech industry, the pure AI and like the startup industry, to now these tech industry mixed with that cybersecurity aspect, what were your misunderstandings in cybersecurity when you first joined, or did you have any?
No, I mean, I kind of grew into cybersecurity because coming from tech, and that happened pretty rapidly, right? We're talking about early 2000s, and as things start to get evolved and more threats start to come in, especially around credit card industry. I think credit card industry was one of the first one to kind of start worrying about things, and that's where credit card frauds start to happen. And for me to transition into it pretty quickly was easy because I understood the back end of it. I understood how technology worked. I understood how the developer programmed their software. I understood how the network layers are set up. I understood how the systems layers are set up. So it was the best thing for me because my mindset has always been a security focus and kind of a risk focused mindset. And from transitioning from that to this was pretty quick and pretty fast. And I loved it because I love troubleshooting. I love finding complicated problem. I guess you guys weren't even born back then, but there was a thing called in Microsoft, it was blue screen of death. This was in 98 to I think 2000, that kind of ran. And I think they finally fixed it in 2018. I worked with the guy who came up with the fix with Microsoft. And he still lives in Atlanta. His name is Tim Nettleton, and him and I, we worked together for a long time. So I saw that from my own eyes. So I can see the transition of how things change. Like today, if you're using Microsoft, you don't get on Windows any blue screens. Once in a while, if your memory crashes, you'll get a blue screen. But and back in the day, it was the norm.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. But let me ask you this, right? You changed, like you obviously you were able to adapt very quickly from this. But in the couple of years you've been building Tiitan, or in the couple of years, how has this shaped you as a person? Like going from working in the industry to being in that industry, to leading a company, to founding a company. How did you change as a person?
I think it was not. It changed quite a bit. I had to learn a lot of stuff very quickly. Number one, I was not a marketing. So if you were to talk about technology, that was not too much of a change for me because I grew in there, even from a leadership perspective. So I knew how the operation work, how the business work, support, all of that aspect that connects with the operation. I did not have to worry about it. Then I had right people in the right team, right? Like our CFO, her and I been colleague for a long time, and I didn't have to worry about the financial part of it because she was always there to kind of help us out. But I think our biggest transition was how to go to market, how to do the sales, how to get into talking to customer, like to sell stuff rather than talking about security. So I think that was a big transition for me, and to learn it really, really quickly. And don't get me wrong, I did use AI tools to help me with that because if I was to go back and read this books and document, I did not have time for that because AI is moving much faster and we have to secure it very, very fast at the same speed. So it was a great learning experience, and I'm still learning every day, every minute of the day, and hopefully learning never stops actually in today's world. So the minute you stop, that means that's the end of it. So you have to constantly keep up with things.
Change is constant for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's like one of the key things, right? You change as a person, you have to adapt and you have to grow. And I think that's a genuinely good learning experience, right? As you said, I mean, AI is changing constantly, technology is changing constantly. If you can't change along with it, yeah, you're going to stay in the era that you were in, right? Now, you founded this company only a little under a year ago. Where do you see Tiitan in 2 years?
So I think we started to, we were working on this for almost 2 years. And then a year ago when we start to focus on the production. So just to give you a little bit of a background, right? The way we found Tiitan, I mean, that kind of sets things into motion, right? I had no desire to start my own company at the time when I was a CISO, right? I think the challenge all started, as I mentioned earlier, when I saw from my own eyes when I was in our corporate office in Austin, and I saw an engineer using ChatGPT to put the source code, and I said, well, why are you doing that? He said, oh, it makes us, figure out the bugs pretty fast. I said, okay, what kind of code is that? And then the guy goes, oh, it's just our, such and such software. I can't name it on the call, but such and such software. And I said, oh, we're not supposed to put anything outside of this. He said, yeah, but it's okay. My boss knows about it. I said, okay. He didn't know who I was. And then I walked over to another desk. I was talking with HR, and then guess what? They're using Copilot and putting in employees' evaluations in there. And at that point, I realized that nobody is guarding them, and we have no idea what data people are putting in. So I went back to my team. We had this discussion about it, and we decided that we're going to block it, all the AI tools, right? And so we blocked it, and then we said we're going to find a solution how we can monitor it and make sure people are using AI responsibly, right? And at the time we started looking at things, there was nothing there. Okay, there was no software out there. They were built for this reason, because AI came in way too fast and nobody knew what to do at the time. So a couple of months later, my CEO comes down to me and he said, "Hey, Abdul, we have to let people use AI. If they're not using AI, that means our competitors are winning. So I don't care what it is, accept the risk and let them use AI." At the time, my team and myself, we were all upset about it, and we decided, okay, fine, we don't have a choice. We can just go with it. And as I talked to other people in the industry, other CISOs, other security experts, and we all realized that that's the problem nobody was solving. So my team and I decided to say, let's start to brainstorm this. So every weekend we used to meet up, just like today, how we're meeting. We will meet up and we start talking about what we can do, what are the things we can look at, and then we started drawing this out. And eventually, things came to fruition, and we decided, okay, we're going to start a company. And at that point, we created an MVP. We had our friends and other people in the industry start to try it out. It turned out it proved the point. And at the same time, there's other companies started to happen, right? Like Layer X and Google started to do certain things. But what we realized that these companies were actually intercepting the prompt, but they were blocking it. So they will not let people use it. And our goal was let people use AI. We wanted people to use AI and improve the productivity or increase the productivity and stay with the trend. And that's why we wanted to introduce something that people can use it and they don't have to worry about doing something wrong. I would say 99% of it, not to worry about doing something wrong. And that's where we came up with this solution, and that's where we are today. For the future, I see us to be dominating leader in this industry, even though we have other competitors start to come up. But what we bring to the table is the experience. Just between five of our founders, we have over, I would say over 150 to 200 years of experience. So all of us have over 25 years of experience, pretty much, in the technology and cybersecurity industry. Now you combine all of that expertise together, that's tremendous amount of time, and that we have different solution, different problem. We've been through incidents, we've been through breaches, we've been through, you name it, everything, right? And based on that, what we bring, we're not the Silicon Valley startup where guys come out of college and then they want to do a startup, no experience in the real time or real life, and they do these things. Like, we bring in that experience, and we know we can be the leader in 2 years.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when I'm just hearing all this, I'm just getting a new perspective on everything like this. I mean, it's truly incredible, right? Like, you see this company growing, you see in your history with it, right? Like, oh yeah, we need to use AI, but we need to make sure there's a secure use to it, right? To monitor it and make sure, yeah, we're not just giving information out like that. But obviously we know, tech companies with their source code, like how you said, that engineer, right? We need to be careful about how we put information out there, and we need to have a system to prevent it. But is there a certain industry, or are there multiple industries that you think have not even considered putting this type of cybersecurity in their company, and they need it? Like, what's a service what's an industry that you think is missing it?
So I think all the industry, right? If you're using AI and you have a certain sensitive information or confidential information within the organization, which is everything, right? In the U.S., if you're in medical industry, then HIPAA is one of the biggest thing, right? You get fined if you violate HIPAA violation. If you're a PCI compliant company, then you violate PCI rules, right? If you're SOC 2 compliant, then you violate that. So every company has some kind of something to lose, right? I think the big Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 50 companies, they have money to spend on tools that can kind of help them. But our focus initially is on mid-sized company, the small companies with 200 to 1,000 employees, which cannot afford tremendous amount of money on their cybersecurity program, right? And what we want to help is help those companies first. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we want to help. We do want to help enterprise companies and give them this solution as well. But we want to help the mid-sized companies first, where they cannot afford these $100,000-$200,000 tools, where our tool is pretty reasonable, right? because it's used the existing infrastructure that's already into their endpoint. And we want to help them, and then focus on medical industry, like hospital, doctor's office, financial industries, banking, small insurance companies, things like that, right? Where they don't realize that people can expose them, or they're already being exposed. They don't know about it. So our software actually provide the visibility into what people are actually doing and give them that risk level, what can happen if they don't have this. And that's what our focus is, and that's what we want to help everybody. Our initial goal was, before we started Tiitan, was, if you go back to that movie, or the AI world before it became a reality, how can you help in those terms back then, to help human beings, right? Our goal is, eventually, once we get to the market, we get enterprise customers in, first mid-sized and enterprise customer onto our thing. We want to release this to public. We want everyone in the world to use this software to protect themselves, their kids, their grandparents. We want to protect all of them. See, one of the things we did not talk about our product is, yes, we protect the data, right? Outside of data, we protect other things as well, like phishing attacks, social engineering, other kind of malware URL people end up clicking on. So since we're already working with the extensions, right, we already have the capability within our ML to do those things. We have grouping of different type of URL, where if a parent wants to block adult sites or gambling sites and things like that, even the organization want to block all of that, they have that capability through our solution. They can do that out of the box. They don't have to pay anything different than what they're already paying. And I think in that scenario, it's a win-win for everyone, right? They don't have to have 5 different software. They can just use one and make it work.
I love that your intent is not just for the big guys, but for everybody. Like, you want to keep everyone safe, and that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where these small companies, unfortunately, they get gut punched hard when they mess up on their cybersecurity, because some of these do have trade secrets, right? Even if it's just a coffee shop and a company is just trying to be, or a coffee shop company is just trying to be like, hey, how can I improve this? That data, like you said earlier, is now free reign for everybody. And I think it's really important, and it shows the values truly of what we should be holding for ourselves. Yeah. Right before we end, I want to do this quick thing with you, a rapid fire. I got 4 questions for you.
Okay.
And you're going to answer them. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. ChatGPT or Claude, what do you use?
Claude.
Fire. Do you like to work from an office, or do you like to work from anywhere?
I'm open to anywhere. I liked the office before, but now I'm open to anywhere.
COVID changed us all, bro.
Yeah. I was one of the guys who was in the office, 5 days a week, even sometime on the weekend, open to close, and even after hours. And you're right, after COVID, all of that changed, and how much time I saved over time. So.
Do you like to wake up to an alarm, or do you like to wake up at any time?
I just have a natural alarm. I just wake up at the same time every day.
Sounds awesome. And one last question. When you pour cereal, or when you make cereal, do you put milk before the cereal, or do you do cereal before the milk? This is very important.
Cereal before the milk.
My guy. All right.
Always.
Abdul, I really appreciate you talking to us today. Seriously, I think we learned a lot about cybersecurity, honestly. And I think for the folks that are going to be watching this who aren't knowledgeable in cybersecurity, or who thought that cybersecurity is just such a painful process, I mean, they learned a lot today. And I seriously appreciate you coming on today. Everyone, this is his website right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Any last words, Abdul?
No, I think always make sure what you put into anywhere on computer, make sure it's safe. You don't know where that data is going. I will always protect that data.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it for having me on this show.
Of course. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. All right. Have a good day. See you later.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.